Hello, and welcome to this installment of Cisco's Email Security Update, specifically to our email security technology that is coming out in version 9.5. As part of this release, we'll be enhancing our ongoing support for blended attacks, specifically around how we integrate our web intelligence and our web security layers inside of our email technology and provide that closed loop reporting and functionality. As part of this technology, it is key to understand that this is nothing new for Cisco. We are enhancing the ongoing security we have around our web integration. In the past, we have updated our outbreak filters to now support URL-based outbreaks. We've also enhanced and added web categorization and reputation to our technology. What we're now doing is filling out the reporting. So in this release, we're giving the technology and the feature to allow our administrators and management to actually see the closed loop of who actually clicked on malicious links and what was the final outcome. We can now track back to see who those problem users are. So as part of this product, we're going to be supporting three major groups or reports. We have the top users who have clicked on malicious URLs, or any URL, could be a policy-based URL. We can actually sort that by many different aspects. So how do you turn this on? So first of all, we log into our ESA, and the first thing with any new feature, we look for the feature keys to make sure we have the feature key enabled for this new feature. Now, as you look through here, guess what? There is no new feature key. So this technology is part of the base operating system, and it's part of our anti-spam, our outbreak filters, as well as our content filters. So how do we go in and turn it on? So the first piece, we go into our security services, we go under URL filtering, and here we can quickly see what the current status is. Is the ESA communicating to the cloud so we can get that closed loop interaction and feedback? And do we have web interaction tracking enabled? Now the key piece here is you need to enable it for outbreak filters. So the first piece, we go to outbreak filters, and we make sure we have it enabled. By default, we have file-based outbreak filters, which are malicious files that are a new outbreak in the environment. But we also need to make sure we have enabled in here the web interaction tracking. So we've enabled it in outbreak filters, and then we go back to URL filtering and we double check and make sure we can turn it on. So we edit our global settings, we can go in here and actually enable the web tracking. And if the customer had, you could actually upload or insert a URL whitelist that actually would bypass this functionality. The next major piece as we move through this installation is let's take a look at the different areas that we have web integration inside of our email security product. The first area is outbreak filters. So by selecting outbreak filters, we now get into the configuration of that feature. The viral attachments are attachment-based outbreaks. So the zero-day outbreaks that are part of attachments, that's on by default. But the one we need to enable is other threats. So on the next section down, you see enable message modification required for threat detection. You enable that box, and now you've actually enabled the rewrite of malicious URLs to redirect those to our cloud. The next piece is what type of email do we actually want to insert from an Xheader point of view. Enter it on all messages or just threat-based outbreaks, and for here we're turning it on for all. There's also a series of variables that you can insert to the end user to describe the type of threat, the level, the description, and the category of those threats. So we can then go in, after selecting those items, we can go in and look at a sample of what the message would be to the end user. So a preview text, this may be a phishing attack submitted to get your username and password. So you can customize the message that gets popped up to the end user when they actually look at the URL to see if they want to interact with it. So that's the first area from a web integration point of view, and that's our outbreak filters. The second piece that we have web integration is around our ability to categorize links within an email. Is it malicious or is it proxy avoidance, or could it be gambling or poker, etc.? So like a policy-based filter. But on top of that, as we can see on the next screen, we can also go in here and limit our traffic or control our email not only on the category that we're showing right now, but we can actually enhance that further and put in a filter that's going to look at the web reputation of the link inside the email. So very similar to how we do email-based reputation scoring, we can do the same thing now for web-based. So here we're showing a -6 to a -10. If that is triggered, add action, we're going to go in and say, if it's part of that malicious, I'm going to rewrite that URL. So these technologies have been around for a while. It is something that our existing customers have learned to love and get great benefit of. But where we've been missing is, how do we close the loop when it comes to the reporting? How do we understand who's clicked on what and what is going on from a rewrite point of view? And that's what's being enhanced or released in our 9.5 software. So again, we went through the different areas and how to turn on the web integration. So let's take a look now to see how we can report on it. So under web interaction tracking, I can now go into my appliance and see very quickly what URLs the end users have clicked on, and there's 4 of them right now in our demo environment. And of those 4 URLs, on the right-hand side, you can see what were allowed and what were blocked, what were unknown at the point of actually analyzing it, as well as by clicking on the URL, you can see who the end user was that clicked on that in the first place. So now we have the capability of not only rewriting the URL for further analysis, either for a policy on content filter or from a malicious point of view with outbreak filters, I can now get the full report. If I select any of the numbers on the right-hand side, the total number of clicks, I can now launch into our message tracking. So here I can see web interaction tracking, and I can go ahead and see the URL that was clicked pre-populated. We can do this both inbound as well as outbound. So right now it is an inbound report. As we scroll down, we see something strange. The report that we're seeing has no sender, no recipient, really no information at all about this report, and as well as the information about what's going on with it. Because a URL could be clicked or interacted with well past the report time duration that we're doing the report on. So by doing a continued search out to my entire data range, I can now go back further into the database that's on the ESA or SMA, and I can now get the data for that specific email from a period of time that was past our original query. So as we scroll down through here, we can see all the things that we're used to, who sent the email, what was the mail from, recipient to, the subject line, what was the verdict from our anti-spam and antivirus. And as we scroll down here, we actually see in the message tracking the message or MIDs or message IDs that an end user has clicked or interacted with. Now, what's important is there's only one and only one message for every message ID. So MID 118660 is only related to one specific email. So we have a unique tracking or correlation between the URL link and the interaction. Now, as part of the demonstration, we don't have malicious traffic. So here's a quick report that shows the malicious URL links, not only by the domains, by end users, but also by the malicious URLs. And if I select the actual click tracking, as we get deeper into here, we can see the actual domains themselves. Now, that's a little bit more in depth than the earlier one. We actually have blocked connections now that we did not have in the past. As we go deeper into here, I can actually go in and scan deeper from a message tracking point of view and get more details based on that extended range for malicious links as well, contain malicious URLs or suspicious URLs, as you can see on the screen. So hopefully during this video you've been able to see the true integration of web traffic from a blended attack point of view inside of Cisco's email security product. We now offer the full reporting from the point of the rewrite that we had in the past, and now we have it all the way through to the actual interaction from an end user. Thank you very much, and hope you enjoyed this session.